Hi everyone, welcome back to High School Science 101. Today I'm talking about cells, specifically different parts of an animal cell. And the easiest way to explain this will be to build a model of the cell using bits and pieces from around the home to represent different parts of the cell based on what they do. So let's get started. The most common question at the start of this topic is what's the difference between a cell and an atom? Cells are small, they're the building blocks of all living things, but atoms are even smaller, they're way smaller. And it's estimated that there's as many cells in your body as there are atoms in a cell. So cells are made up of billions of atoms. There are three main types of cells. We've got fungal cells, which are like yeast and mushrooms. There are plant cells, and there are animal cells. And today we're going to talk about an animal cell, but I will talk about some aspects of a plant cell as well. The first part of this animal cell model that I'm creating is the jelly-like substance inside the cell that all of the different parts of the cell are floating around in. And this is called the cytoplasm. And what I've done is I've got a cooking dish, I've put some water in it and some gelatin and mixed it, and I've put it in the fridge overnight and it's formed this jelly. And this will be our cytoplasm. Around the outside of the cell, we have the cell membrane, and this keeps all of the different parts of the cell, the organelles, inside the cell and controls what goes in and out of the cell. I know it doesn't let things pass through it like a cell membrane would, but for this I'm using bubble wrap because it sort of looks like a membrane and it's just really fun to pop the bubbles. All of the organelles, the different parts of the cell, are suspended in the cytoplasm, and the first organelle that I'm going to show you is the nucleus. Not all cells have a nucleus though. Bacteria, for example, don't have one, so they are called prokaryotic cells. Most animal cells do have one though, and they are called eukaryotic cells. I'm using a USB for the nucleus because the nucleus contains all of your DNA. Your DNA is a set of instructions that you've inherited from your parents, and these tell the cell what to do and ultimately make you you. They determine your hair color, your eye color, your height, a whole bunch of things, including your personality to some degree. So these are really important instructions that tell the cell what to do. And I'm going to pretend that the DNA is a file stored on this USB. And this is our nucleus, and this goes inside of our cytoplasm. Extending out from the nucleus, we have this transport system of tubes called the endoplasmic reticulum. And I've represented this with straws in this case. And this is responsible for creating and transporting various things, but mainly proteins throughout the cell. The endoplasmic reticulum is divided into two main parts. We have smooth ER and we have rough ER. And rough ER has certain things attached to it, which we're going to talk about very soon. In biology, we have two main reactions that underpin all life on Earth. We have photosynthesis that happens in plants, and we have respiration that happens in animals, specifically in a part of the cell called the mitochondria. And in respiration, you're basically converting big glucose molecules into smaller bite-sized pieces that the cell can use for energy. And for this reason, I'm using batteries as mitochondria because they're often known as the powerhouses of the cell because it's where the energy comes from to power the cell. Plant cells do have mitochondria, but they also have these other things called chloroplasts, which contain a green chemical called chlorophyll, and that helps absorb sunlight, and chloroplasts are where photosynthesis takes place in plant cells. Next we have the vacuole, and this is a bubble inside the cell, and these tend to be bigger in plant cells than animal cells, but it basically serves as a storage facility. It stores chemicals and nutrients and wastes, and it isolates things that might be harmful to other parts of the cell. For this I'm using a Ziploc bag that I've inflated and sealed, and this forms our bubble inside our cytoplasm. I'm using these Lego bricks as a part of the cell called ribosomes. And ribosomes are where amino acids are put together to form proteins. And so I can use these Lego bricks as places where other Lego pieces, amino acids, can come together and join up and form bigger pieces called proteins. Proteins are really useful for the cell, particularly for cell growth and repair. And you can find ribosomes throughout the cytoplasm, but you can also find them attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. And we call that rough endoplasmic reticulum. The last organelle that I'm going to talk about are lysosomes, and these are little bubbles inside the cell that are very acidic, and they contain chemicals called enzymes that help break down big molecules into smaller ones and also help break down waste materials as well. For this in our model I'm using sour lollies because these are acidic just like the inside of the lysosomes. And that's it for today. We've covered most of the main organelles that you need to know within the animal cell. The cell membrane, cytoplasm, ribosomes, nucleus, vacuole, lysosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, and mitochondria. And we've also talked about some differences with plant cells, how they have a bigger vacuole, and they have chloroplasts, which is where photosynthesis takes place. Plant cells also have a cell wall around the outside of the cell. They have a cell membrane, but they also have this cell wall which helps give the plant some structure and support. I hope this video has made it a bit easier to understand the different parts of the cell and what they all do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.